して楽な方がおべきとしそう爆発して
And 1 month later, it is anime podcast time. Finally, episode 189, and we're talking Great Teacher Onizuka. What an anime this always is to watch.
Yeah,
It's fucking wild.
it is. It's very unique.
So, you wanted to do something with me in real time, because this beginning of the podcast is probably going to be just fun banter of us drinking and having a good time at like 10 o'clock in the morning on a long weekend for me. Is it a long weekend for you? Do you have like a Labor Day kind of deal?
My Labor Day is May 1st, but I technically had a holiday on Friday. I worked, by the way. Well, I I didn't. I worked, but I was present in body, but not in soul. It is my city's birthday or anniversary holiday, and it's my state anniversary. We call like colonization day and like
Colonization Day.
anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like
It's quite the name.
There's not a lot of there's not a lot of indigenous people where I live, so everyone is a
Not anymore.
immigrant. Not anymore. Well, they were cannibals, so kind of like good thing. that
Ah, yes.
None of them.
These Neanderthals
So-
having good meat all the time.
Since everyone is descendant of Portuguese and Spanish, it's kind of like, yeah, colonization day, let's go.
Okay, fair enough. If there was
because
one
that-
argument I've
and-
had at work over the last week, it is people being ignorant of other people's cultures. Oh my god.
Yeah,
It's,
well, I mean, it happens. We try our best to be we watch a lot of anime, so kind of it's mixed in between of not judging things, of what you see with preconceived notions. But anyway, technically it's a state holiday, but not. But it is in my city. Unfortunately, I work in the capital, so I don't have the holiday, even though I'm coded to have. So I just went there and did some work. Like out of the 8 hours, I probably worked like 5, and the rest was just like me checking my phone. But
Well,
it was fine, and then it's kind of a long holiday because the judiciary doesn't work. So like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
oh, you
if,
can't
if
really.
the judge is not working and everything is closed, I'll just go there and like do some petitions and stuff.
Okay.
I just type and don't need to keep talking to clients and everything. It's more like, okay, I have a day where no one is gonna piss me off and keep calling me about dumb shit. I can just sit down and type in peace,
Oh.
and it's the best, the best kind of day. It's better than holidays, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a long weekend for me. So I signed up for a 3-day golf tournament, which there's no cut
Oh.
line. You just try to golf for 3 days and get the best kind of combined score of the 3 days. That should be fun.
It's a golf marathon.
Well, usually like golf tournaments are 4 days, and there's cut lines. This is just a
Ah.
straight up Memorial Day tournament. So
So
It's today, tomorrow, and
qualify,
Monday.
right? You have qualifiers.
well, you're qualified as the handicap, and you can just pay to enter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how that turns out. And then my season tournament league, with like tables and standings and stuff and match play, started this past Wednesday. So no more bowling. That's over. It's all golf
Damn.
from here on out.
But it's okay, JD, because on summer 2025 we're gonna have the second best bowling anime coming out. Because the first is, I think it's Strike and Guts, with the heavily sexual innuendos in bowling.
I was so
That
excited
was-
when I was watching that preview that you sent me of Turkey, which is coming out. Good name, by the
Yeah.
way. It'd be weird if they called it like 4-bagger or 6-pack. If they called it 6-pack,
what is
it
a-
would have to
what is a
be like
turkey?
college. It would have to be college kids drinking beer while bowling if it was called 6-pack.
No, that's Grand Blue second season that is also coming out.
Okay.
Which a PV released today of the second season.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'll send you later. Why turkey? What turkey means in bowling?
It means 3 strikes in a row.
Oh, why is it called turkey? Do you know? Do
I
you
do
know?
not know why it's called turkey, but uh,
Three strikes.
I'm pretty excited. It looks pretty good. It's very relatable, just from the PV of what like my high school bowling team was like when I put my own team together and took them to the state championships. So that was in Texas back in the mid 2000s. Yes, that was a long time ago now. And I was like, oh, there's a chick that always gets gutter balls and she shits the bench. Yep, I had one of those on the team. He had to fill out the roster. That was his that was his entire role. Uh, there were 2 guys I trained myself
Sounds like
to get
me
better.
on the high school basketball team.
Oh, yeah,
I'm fucking one like in first year of high school was like 160, like 5'5", and I was like, yeah, no, you just need to sit. We need an extra guy, and I was like, okay,
yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna sit on the bench. That's really cool.
There's the number
Everyone's
2.
like
Yeah, yeah.
6 foot tall in the fucking first year of high school, and I was like, oh yeah, for sure you need a guy. Like, yeah, we give you like food for free. It's like I'm fucking in, dude.
Yeah. I don't got to show up to practice and I get free shit. Awesome.
Yeah, free food, damn, free dinner. I'm down, dude. Then
Yeah.
I got into a game. I had to get into a game, but that's a story for another time. Not to talk about it. My high school was interesting.
Yeah, I did notice they all have the in the bowling preview, they all have the specific like bowling glove that really only Asian bowlers tend to wear.
The
So,
two finger,
yeah, it's a glove with the 2 fingers
the three
exposed.
three fingers.
Yeah,
Three fingers covered, and like the pinky and the ring
no, the ring in the middle
finger.
are exposed, so you can put them in
Oh,
the
the ring in
ball.
the middle.
Yeah, but
Oh, okay.
it's really, I think, if I got this right, it's really kind of just in like Japan and Taiwan and those kind of countries. South Korea is all about um, the tape over the fingers, much like Americans and uh, Canadians and that kind of stuff bowling. I'm not too familiar with how bowling is going in Europe right now, but I was like, wow, they even got the gloves to be in the culture of bowling from their country. Makes sense. It's Japanese anime doing Japanese bowling.
Yeah.
The main character looks to be a lefty, which I found super interesting. Because lefties are few and far between in bowling. They're very rare, and they're usually really good, too. Because they get to bowl by themselves, essentially, on their side of the lane.
Mm. So there's not a lot of wear.
Correct. Not a lot of wear on the oil. It's and they all tend to have kind of a very similar style to each other. And the style matched what the person was doing, from what I can tell in the PV. I'm super curious about
Also,
everything. Obviously, I will be.
Even you in the United States, you can say that. Like, okay, a lefty in the United States, you've seen them, of course, and you see a PV with a lefty emulating a Japanese player, and you can tell that the styles are similar, even in completely different countries.
Yes.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, it
I guess
looks
there should be
like
like
it's going to be
football,
very
right?
accurate and very good. I
Nice.
did super
gonna watch
laugh
it
at
later.
the dramatic
We're
scene
gonna.
of the good bowler like standing out in the rain, taking it way too seriously, and I'm like, that was me. I've done that.
uh, Man, if I'm gonna count every single time in high school where I stood in the rain for something that nowadays I think it's super dumb,
Yeah,
I'll have at least a year worth of worth of days.
yeah. I'm very excited to see kind of what scores they start putting up. How they create drama in the bowling game itself, because I've been there many times over my life. I still go through it today, tournaments and the like. Shit, I did 3 PBA tournaments already this year, so Yeah, it should be a fun anime, and I'm gonna obviously judge it and critique it very harshly. Lots of details. What is accurate, what is not. I'm super pumped.
Hmm.
Okay, so you wanted me to do something real time for this episode.
Yes,
Okay.
for my agenda, so I can force you to fucking watch an anime.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh no.
Yes,
I already got
you're
something in
going
my
to
head.
spring
Okay, spring
2025.
2025, my
You,
anime list. You wanted
you
me to sort it
by
by score. Okay.
score, and see what's the best new TV anime
All
coming out.
right. Oh my god, yeah, I had a feeling. Uma Musume Cinderella Gray has an 8.29.
Yes.
Okay, but here's the thing. Only 25,000 people are watching this. This goes into sequel inflation.
No,
Yeah.
it's a spin-off.
There's so little people watching
No,
it, but they all love the
it
show
has not.
unconditionally, so it gets a high score.
Yes, and you can watch for free on YouTube.
Can you?
Yes, yes, it's an official release on YouTube.
Do I have to watch any Uma Musume prior to this? Can I go in blind?
No, every single season you can watch blind.
Okay.
Some things you're gonna not understand, but it's like, oh, this character really likes this character. Okay, like it's, and if you watch it like the second season to the third season or the first season to the second season, it's okay. The seasons, they of course they emulate the actual races from the horses. The first season is from the generation of 1999. The second season is the generation of 1993. Then the third season is the generation of 2015. So like even
Okay.
the horses are not related. Like they are not close to each other. They go back and forth into everything. And then there's a manga, which will probably be the fourth season. That is 2002, I think. So it goes back and forth. They don't need you to worry about it. The thing with Cinderella Grey is that it's not super happy-go-lucky as the other ones because of the main character. And it's the story, it's a Cinderella story, so it's also good. Every single episode so far has been amazing. The direction, the photography, the animation, everything. So I'm telling you, dude, Almost is good. You're gonna enjoy it. You like showing the things.
I
You're not
do.
gonna see the monster, the gray monster running.
The gray monster. Are you talking about
Yeah,
um
the main character. The main character, Oguri Cap, the horse nickname was Kaibutsu,
okay.
the beast.
Okay. I
You
mean,
should watch it.
I'm
Again,
just kind
it's
of looking
free
at
on YouTube.
character looks. Okay. I will give it a try. You've got me on
Finally.
two. You got me 2 for 2. From our God, it's been a month since we last discussed anime, but you got me 2 for 2 with Kowloon, generic romance, and Kijin Gentoshu. Really like those two shows. I really
They're
enjoy
really
them.
good. Kowloon is like we have like seinen anime, right?
Yeah.
But which is like young adults anime. But Kowloon, because I guess because of the art style being very josei, but not josei,
I
it's
know what
like
you mean.
adult
I see
anime.
what you, yeah.
Because like it's I don't know. I also think the main character, like the woman main character, is very sexy, and she wears a lot of sexy outfits.
Oh my God, there's that scene
So
where
far.
she's like painting the
Painting,
apartment and
yeah,
spread and she's sweating and she's got the low white cut top on. I'm like, "Oh my
yeah.
God, cut that out, girl."
It feels like late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s movies. That is like, okay, like this is adult stuff. There's no sexual things. It's just like, okay, like this in my mind is what adults look like. What
Yes.
sexy adults look like. So like it's different. It's something unique. It's one of those animes like GTO that we're gonna talk about. There's like unique and nothing will be like it. So I do truly enjoy it. Kijin, they already hit the time skip, right?
Um, so I'm a couple episodes
Because of
behind
like episode
Kijin, but
7.
the first episode is like an hour and a half. It's like a movie, and all it is setup. It's really cool,
Yeah,
and it's
it's
got a
just a
huge
prologue.
twist that sets up the more or less multiple episodic. We've talked about this on the podcast before, and a lot of,
Yeah.
especially with episodic shows, I always like stories that span 2 or 3 episodes. And it has a beginning, middle, and end, and it feels so much less episodic and actually serving a purpose to maintain the story and characters, and they can develop more in those stories. And Kijin, with that intro, that first episode or two, or hour and a half thing, to following their multiple episodic format, is I'm way into that show. It's top of the list from the season. While unfortunately Lazarus, I think, is just getting passed up. I still enjoy it, but stuff like Kijin and Kowloon and um, I guess those would be kind of the top two now.
Hmm. Also, with what was made, remember to always watch the OP and DD because they change.
Okay,
Uh,
how do they now?
One thing, yeah, because like I want to see your opinion or hear your opinion on the time skip of Kijin. The
Okay,
second time skip of Kijin, not the first one, because the first one is easy, right? Yeah, things happen on first 2 episodes. Third episode time skip. Okay, it's easy to understand. I want to see
yeah, it's like
the other
5
time
years has
skip.
passed or something, or a couple years. Yeah, it's not that much.
Yeah, the second time skip is the one I'm interested to see if you have the same opinion as I do. That is hard to realize a time skip happened. Oh, this isn't one thing that I wasn't watching, but there's so many videos online, so many gifs and everything is Apocalypse Hotel. So I'm interested to start watching it.
Apocalypse Hotel. That is from this season.
Yeah, it is from this season. It kind of flew under the radar, but it has so many gifs and so many videos, and it looks very interesting.
Hmm.
I might give it a try. Since now I need to, since I'm working it out, I need to stay on a fucking treadmill for an hour. I have time to. I don't have anything to do. I'm gonna watch anime while I exercise.
I mean, I used to do that offshore when I was working on the rigs. Like, often I would be on the exercise bike or treadmill myself, and I would just be watching anime or The Sopranos or something. I know that's like two completely different things, but you get the idea. I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
not seeing Apocalypse Hotel in this
It's
season.
on
Is it
the
like an O and A
two,
that I got to
three,
continue down?
4. It's on the fifth row.
Fifth row. Okay. Do I got to resort it?
It's on the same row as Vigilante.
Okay. I'll go by members again.
No, not score. On score.
Oh, on score. Okay. Sort, score.
It's below Kijin.
I'm so nervous about my OBS crashing that I'm checking it like every couple minutes.
Just split the screen and have the OBS open.
Okay, there it is. Apocalypse Hotel. Okay, let me Okay, let's see here. 749 on my anime list. Many years have passed since humanity vanished from Earth, yet Galaxy Tower Hotel in Ginza continues to operate. At the center of the staff is Yachio, a hotelier robot. So this is like some slice of life thing about running a hotel where no one enters?
Yeah.
Okay.
It reminds me of that one episode of Ergo Proxy. Where like everyone died in the everyone died in the dome, but everything was automated by the robots, so they kept working every single day. But
Okay.
everything I've seen from it, it's very slice of life. It looks fun, you know. For like again, I'm stuck in a treadmill. What am I supposed to do? Gonna watch Apocalypse Hotel. Looks like a good thing to spend time, while you're waiting for something. In my case, you decided to stop.
Yeah, you're getting all healthy all of a sudden, but then deep throat beers before podcasts.
Man, it's the habit. I can't. Like last week was my friend's birthday, and I think I drank like 6, 7 liters of beer.
This past
And I
week
was
was
sick
my one of my best friends'
because I didn't have a
birthday.
voice. I told
Very
you, I
similar.
didn't have a voice. I went there sick, and I drink only 6 liters of beer. So like something is wrong, man. It's not That's not normal.
All right. I think that's enough banter. Let's talk about GTO. What do you say?
I mean, want to talk about football as well? Want to leave it for the
What? Harry Kane finally won a title, and it's not an actual trophy. It's like a plate.
Son as well. Son also did win
Yeah.
a trophy with Tottenham, and Ancelotti is the fucking trainer for Brazil. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was hard for me to get excited about the Bundesliga this year. Just wasn't very. I don't know. It didn't feel very competitive. Bayern just.
But every year is the same thing. What do you mean?
Well, last
It's like,
year
oh,
was
yeah,
was different because
Bayern-
Leverkusen had to be like
Bayern
undefeated to
won-
win. So that was at least the
Bayern won
story.
for it was only a 10-point difference between Bayern and the second place. That's super competitive. This year was like 15. It wasn't super competitive.
No,
I hope it goes back to between 10 and 13. It's always the same thing.
Yeah, I
Unless they
just
fucked
can't
up. Like
stand
there was a
Bayern.
year they fucked up, and I think Leverkusen won.
Yes, Leverkusen basically went undefeated to win the title, win the league for the first time. Bayern didn't win it in like 12 years or something crazy. Stupid.
I wasn't super competitive. It's like, but that's the normal.
Yeah, but I thought after last year there'd be like more disparity this
No.
year, little differences, and there wasn't. It just went right back to a few years ago. See, in the mid 2000s, when I was living over there and going to school and everything, it was, there was Dortmund, there was Bremen, Schalke was good so the rivalry was awesome. Yes, Bayern was still at the top. And just all these teams over the last 10 years have just fallen off so bad. Like Leverkusen is going to lose their coach. Xabi Alonso's he did such a good job there. He's going to Barcelona, right? Or is it Madrid? I can't remember. He's going to one of those two. Probably Barcelona. Why would he go to Madrid? It's just like Bremen's no good. Hamburg, like Schalke's awful. Hanover's in the second division. They're going through financial trouble. Just all these major clubs are in the second league now. Like it's just frustrating when I have to depend on like southern German teams to try to compete with Bayern. It sucks. Okay. Playing the drop. Here we go. We're 23 minutes in, Hickey, and this shit has not crashed. I love it. I'm gonna keep keeping an eye on it religiously. This is what? It was 3 podcasts in a row, right? That it crashed on us?
Come on.
It was 2? I thought it was 3. Because
Two.
I thought Lovely Complex, it crashed.
With me,
NHK crashed. NHK and Suzuka,
No,
like 100% crashed. I do remember those.
Yeah. Lovely Complex, it didn't crash.
Okay, so great teacher Onizuka. Man, so it came out in 99, finished in late 2000, 43 episodes. It does not cover the whole manga, but it gets pretty damn close. It got canceled with like 4 or 5 volumes left. I had to buy the volumes myself. I bought the volumes when I was living in Toronto, and no matter what volume you found, it's I don't know why, but it took 3 copies for me to finally get the big conclusion, kind of with one of the female students. I don't want to like completely spoil it, but because it's near the end. Uh, that like huge revelation and twist, basically the climax of the whole entirety of GTO in this one character is ripped out of the mangas. So 2 of them, and took 3 of them to finally not be ripped out of that.
Yeah. And there's like 8 filler episodes as well, so
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of filler. Easy enough to
it's a lot.
finish.
For 43, we almost have like a fourth of the anime being filler.
Yeah, I guess
It
when
is
you
a
put it
lot.
that way, yeah, that is a lot. It doesn't feel like filler though, not much. There's a couple like recap episodes. Are you counting that as the filler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then yeah, we're talking about. Okay.
If you took like the filler episodes out, it's like 6 fillers episodes.
Yeah, I can deal with that.
There's one filler. There's like a full arc of like 3 episodes, I think, with the nurse,
Mm-hmm.
like right in the middle. But yeah, it doesn't feel like a filler. That's okay. Also, GTO has a continuation. If you go on my anime list, it doesn't show as a continuation, but it's called like GTO Paradise, and then the
Oh, I've heard of
the
this.
author had a fight with the publisher, and then he had to change the name, and now I think it's called GTO Paradise Lost.
Okay.
I've never read it. I haven't read it, but there is a continuation. I don't know how do you continue, because the only thing I've saw of it is the manga cover, and there's nothing cool about it. So there's also the prequel, right? Which, have you ever watched the prequel to GTO?
I have not.
I also never watched it,
Is that
and it's before the anime as well. It released on 1994, and GTO is 1999. So GTO is actually the
is this
the
the thing
actual
that's
real story.
that covers his biker gang days?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. But that's the original story. Bad Company, the name of the manga. GTO is actually like the sequel, but like, what if? The actual real story of the first one is Bad Company, the manga, or Shonen Junai Gumi, or Young GTO in English.
Oh, okay. Because I've only heard of the Young GTO. I haven't heard of Bad Company.
It's the same. It's the same. The manga is called Bad Company.
Are you sure? Isn't there?
There's 2 mangas actually. Now that
Oh,
I'm
so
seeing,
I'm only familiar with the sequel of Bad Company then.
Bad
I've
Company
never read
and
any
Shonen
of this.
Junai Gumi. Yeah, they are both. They are both the prequels to GTO, and they're compressed into the 5 episode OVA. But it's the original story. GTO is already sits in an interesting, unique thing. It's like if your shonen protagonist came back 10 years later, and which happens, which used to happen a lot in the 2000s, right?
uh,
Because Yu Yu Ha no Yu Yu Hakusho
well,
doesn't have that, but
Naruto had the skip
Naruto
and
does
the big
Bleach
time
does
skip.
that,
Bleach does it.
One Piece also does that, but
Well, One Piece is
those skips are,
continuations though.
but you do have a skip
There is
on
a
One Piece.
major time skip, yeah.
Yeah, but of that era, you have what's the name?
I mean, Naruto is like the first thing that comes to mind because they have it's Naruto, then it's Shippuden, which is way later. Or I say way later, but quote unquote. And then there's Boruto,
Inuyasha
which
does that.
um
Inuyasha does a time skip.
does it though? I mean,
I
it
think it
it
does.
shows no at the end. It shows like what happened to them in the future, kind of living happily after kind of deal. Oh, but yeah, but there. Well,
But there's another.
yeah,
I'm
there's
trying
the,
to.
there's the show about the kids. Yeah.
Shaman King. Yeah, Shaman King also. It's a show about the kids.
All right, so GTO. Let's see, Studio Puro. We've done quite a few anime by them.
Mhm.
Director Noriyuki Abe. Episode director Hayata Date. Uh, yeah, it's great. GTO is very episodic, and in many cases, it's not, because the whole purpose of the show is Eikichi Onizuka. He's 22 years old, ex-biker gang leader. He's applying to be a teacher. He wants to be the greatest teacher in all of Japan. uh, he's very horny all the time. He doesn't really know how to teach, but he knows how to, I guess, lock
Three
into,
people, but like actual human beings.
yeah, be an actual like human being and understand the students that he's in charge of. He's in charge of what is it, class G? Is that what it is? 3-4?
3-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this like nice prestigious school, but these are all the problem students. They all got issues. Teachers tend to quit, uh, go insane. The students break them in psychological instances. But
There's bullying.
Onizuka
There's
isn't.
multiple suicide attempts by
Oh my god, yeah.
students.
There's blackmail. There's sexual harassment on both ends, where it's not always Onizuka's fault. Students are just trying to get him in trouble on purpose. Yeah, you said bullying and suicide. There's a lot of teenage themes uh, that Onizuka must help these students get through or overcome, and that's episode to episode that journey with absolutely over the top, dialed up over 11 comedy involving Onizuka's reactions and how he acts at the school, ranging from his private upstairs stairwell office where he also showers and eats at school, and all he eats is ramen because he has a very crappy paycheck. So him being broken poor but also their teacher is a big theme of the show. So because the show came out in 99, it looks very much of the 90s. It very much follows our delinquent loving of anime with delinquent students and delinquent teacher that is part of these students. GTO, Hickey,
Yeah.
give me your overall thoughts. And I guess
Man.
I mean, we could go episode to episode, or we could just go overall themes, favorite students that he overcome. I'm not sure how to tackle
Yeah, I
GTO.
think there's so many students that I think going a little bit episode by episode, but also the best arcs and the best aspects of it. I think it's the better way to tackle the show. First of all, this show is super unique and very iconic. Like the first opening, Drive is High by Lock Ducian, where like you have the toilet and like he's flushing it and you have like the sound of the motorcycle and like he opens the door and kind of comes out kind of like drunky while like full nude and with a cigar, like a cigarette is like the best. It is so unique. You never see before and after an OP like that. It sets the tone of the show that the show is highly comical and really dumb from time to time, but the OP kind of shows the true nature of this show that is super grimy and grounded and sober. You know, you should not take the nature of the show serious, because then you're gonna miss the true aspects of the show: bullying, suicide, delinquency on young age, the problem with Japanese society of, like, because someone doesn't adjust very well, call them trash and things. All 1999, I think I talked about a little bit of current problems with Japanese society, uh, which again is not tackled in GTO at all. Uh, and before with Welcome to NHK, it's also not tackled that well, because again, it it's very very recent. Then Hitori no Yoru by Porno Graffiti, which is the second opening, is also very very good opening. But the first one, like, when you start watching the first episode and you see that opening, right? On black and white, on high contrast, and everything is such a beautiful way to set the tone for your anime. And even though I have my problems with Onizuka as a character, and some parts of the story that are not like really that what realist for what it is, uh, it's still like, so it's such a unique, such a good experience, right, to watch. As an adult, when I watched it as a teenager, it wasn't that fun. But now, as
Too relatable.
adult, yeah, it wasn't fun because I couldn't relate to the characters my age, and I cannot relate to Onizuka because he's 22 and I'm watching it with like 14, 15 years old, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I didn't watch GTO till I was in my 20s. So,
Yeah, I watched GTO when I was like really young, or like I was the age of the characters, like the teenagers of this, or a little bit, even a little bit older than them, because it's an actual middle school. It's not a high school. He's not a high school student. He's a middle school student, and he's like the last year of middle school, so they're like 14, 13.
yep.
The students are, and like I couldn't relate to them at all,
I
and
don't
I
know, but
couldn't
it's
relate to
drawn
Onizuka.
and
So
presented in such a way they feel like high school students.
kind of, yeah, because of a lot of the themes and a lot of the things they do, especially regarding to bullying of my man Yoshikawa. It's it's a little bit weird. But now, after I rewatched it once, that's like the second or third time rewatching Onizuka or GTO, and I can relate more to Onizuka, and I can understand the nature of the high school, middle school students as characters. So it makes it as a well-rounded show. Uh, Still, I don't like how silly it is from time to time, especially with Onizuka, and like, oh no, he can do whatever he wants because he's the guy we need. But some of this stuff is like, that's not like believable.
Uh huh.
It doesn't need to be realistic, but it's not believable that he can just take his students to the swimming pool day instead of teaching them history. Is like, that's not really believable, and it keeps stacking up and stacking up and stacking up to the point where you either get really bothered by how unbelievable it is, that the show is not that interesting in the aspects of classes,
Uh huh. Yep.
but also you can go full circle and be like, okay, whatever, the show is silly, and whatever Onizuka does, it's okay, and it is more enjoyable, but it loses a little bit of that. This show is actually not supposed to be silly. You shouldn't look at the show and think, oh, this is just a silly show. It should be something to reflect on as interpersonal relationships and how we should tackle them and responsibilities and uh, punishment. For example, the Miyabi episode where she's uh, kidnapped and Onizuka comes in and bursts through the window using the Zeppelin thing. And she's like, "Oh, my teacher finally came to save me," and he just lights a cigarette, like, "Save you? I'm here to watch." It's like, you need to learn to take responsibility.
Yeah,
know?
that's a big theme with Onizuka
But
is take
if
responsibility for
it's
your own actions and deal with it yourself, which
if
is a
it gets to a
very
point where the
adult
things that should be
response.
yeah, go on. Yeah, it's a very adult response. But the thing is, if the things that should be a little bit realistic are not, and start to get unbelievable, it starts to you either don't like a lot of aspects of the show, or you need to think this is a silly show. And the impact of the actual moral lesson the show wants to give to you might be lost. And
Um,
so, like,
I could see
it
that.
might,
I could see that. Yeah,
yeah, at least for me, right?
well, it's like I said at the top. It was a lot of the comedies dialed up to over 11, and
Yeah.
I could certainly see someone just being like, okay, we're trying to. It does to instead of having themes where there's metaphors and idioms and all these things, kind of playing it out for us. We the thing that pops in mind first is one of his first students where he has to break down the wall, the barrier of her emotions to her family, and instead of solving that, he physically, not metaphorically, takes a sledgehammer and breaks down the actual wall of their home.
Yeah.
And that's his solution. It's very simplistic and was so over the top. You're like, well, he would be arrested and fired and all these things. But the show does, like, I guess a job enough where they go, well, no one's pressing charges. They're back together. It's all good. Things just happen to work out. Where in reality that would never work out, no matter the circumstance. But that's more or less, it's kind of like watching professional wrestling. Oh yes, the guy gets thrown to the ropes and then he just magically runs back. Got to turn your brain off to some things and just kind of accept it. Otherwise, you're just going to drive yourself mad thinking this just isn't in reality enough for what's happening. Can that ruin the themes of child abuse? Can it ruin the themes of school bullying to the point of suicide? Can it ruin these like heavy themes that they're doing? Yes. However, the show from the start, I believe, does a good job of saying, yes, we have heavy themes and we're trying to give it a comedy-esque serious tone. Not so much dry humor, but the over-the-topness makes it a little bit more light. Whereas we just did NHK, where a lot of those themes were kind of handled in the complete opposite way, in a different over-the-top sense. Is that are we just chalking that up to the media, or are we chalking that up to actual stylistic choices?
I think it's stylistic choices,
Yeah.
mostly.
A cultural
Within
stylistic
that,
choice,
like,
to be exact, is how I would phrase it personally.
because they are from the same kind of time period, right? Welcome to NHK is a little bit later.
Let's see. NHK was, God, we just did the show too. When did it come out? 2006. So
Yeah, it's way
that's a
later.
different generation, as far as I'm concerned.
True.
A lot of things changed in Japan culturally and by law in the late 90s, in between that and 2006. Because there's some things and aspects of the show of child pedophilia and age gaps that could dominate a lot of the conversations discussing the show in 2025.
Yes. And to the message of the show, they were not important. Not saying what happened is not important, okay? It's just that this is not the point of discussing GTO. Is like again interpersonal relationships and how you deal with them, and understanding responsibility, and that you can be a silly dumbass and still have a lot of responsibility and knowing how to deal with people, which is Onizuka. Yeah, Onizuka, and it does kind of romanticizes gangs a little bit too much, if you can go that way. Onizuka is a silly guy, but he understands the his relationships with others and his responsibility because he was in a gang. It was like he
Uh,
was
I mean, we've watched our
forced
fair share
to
of biker
he
gang
was
bad
forced to
boy
be an
delinquent
adult.
shows at this point.
Yeah, he was forced to be an adult too early, but it still have that child mentality. So like some aspects you understand, other aspects he doesn't, and that's how he rolls. You could think that way, but still at the end of the day is all about how you deal with yourself, why you're doing that, what should be the righteous thing to do, even if your actions are not socially acceptable.
Yeah. You know what actions I wish were socially acceptable?
Yes.
Suplexing douchebags and your teachers.
Man,
Uh, I always love
the
just
vice principal, the vice principal is a victim in this assignment.
no, no,
Don't call
no.
him a
He just
dude.
he
Dude,
no, that's karma
my
coming
dude,
back to him all the time.
dude had a cool Cresta that nowadays is probably a drifty car.
The
But man, that
Toyota
Cresta
Cresta
surfed.
meme in the show is legendary.
That Cresta surfed a lot. The Cresta is a great car, and it's a good drift car as well.
All right, hold on.
But man, that
Let's see
thing,
how much a 1999 Toyota Cresta goes for today. As my
I should
phone goes off here. Okay.
in the US, I think a lot.
I'm
Easily
sure. I
cheap
mean, it's a
one.
classic car at this point. So let's see here. Yeah, it's a nice car. 1999 Toyota Cresta for sale. Let's see. Looks like you can get one for like $4,000.
Hmm.
Which
Here,
that's not that bad.
try this one.
I can get a 1997 Toyota Cresta for $900. uh, One just sold for 5,600 like a month ago.
Hmm.
This is an affordable classic car. Yeah, you're right.
Here it comes.
It is like a drift car these days. I'm seeing a lot of pictures of people have souped it up to be as such.
Hmm.
2 to 2.5 liter engine. Oh, this thing's sweet. Man, now I want a Toyota Cresta. Go full initial D with it.
Yeah, you see the Yahoo auction thing.
No, I didn't see that come up. What you got?
Yeah, just go to the group, and
Tell
I
me about
I
it.
posted it.
What's happened? Oh, to go to the group chat. Okay.
Yeah, there's like an actual serious drift car, but 2 million yen.
Oh, well. Oh, yeah, it's super souped up. Look at that thing. It's like yellow, white with blue
That
side
looks sweet
paneling. The
as
number
hell,
5
dude.
is on it.
It looks so good though.
All right. New dream car here. '90s Toyota Cresta.
It's the Renault Formula One livery
Yeah.
from the '90s. Yeah, remember the livery? I think
Yeah, they're all
the
closing.
Crest is a nice. Yeah, the Crest is a nice. Dude wanted 3 million on that car. God damn. It's
Uh,
a nice drift car. It's like some cool thing. Yeah, that guy suffered so much. Poor Principal did. Vice Principal, he suffered so much.
how much
Some
did a
of it was
Toyota
his.
Cresta cost in '99? That's what I gotta know. It was like
I think it was a
$50,000.
lot.
What?
Yeah, dude. It was like a luxury sedan.
Holy shit! I guess it does
So
look
like
like a modern like
because
BMW kind of deal.
yeah,
Way ahead of its time in look.
I don't know how it was for like the brands in the United States, but usually like you have the entry car, the middle range car, and then the top of the line
Uh
car.
huh.
And then the top of the line car, you have the not so luxury car, the middle range car, and the actual very, luxury car. And for Toyota was Lexus, still is Lexus.
It's an impressive
So
car, and he goes through a lot of body repair with that car throughout the show.
oh my body repair. I think you went through like 3 cars.
Yeah, there was a couple lines where he said he took out like another loan to buy another Cresta at one point.
Yeah. He's like begging for the insurance to cover the things. Like, it's not my fault. A man dropped from the sky on top of my car. And the insurance like, yeah, that happened every week. A flying man falls on your car, sure.
Now I must say, our our vice principal Uchiyamada here, he looks suspiciously like that new anime that came out where he was reincarnated as a princess.
Yeah, yeah.
He looks
That
very
one is
much like that guy.
amazing. Poor man, he almost dies as well on the last trip. But what's are your opinions on GTO, JD? I talked my part. What is yours?
So I
How
think
do you feel about GTO?
I think the comedy itself is, if I had to put a percentage on it, 70% funny, 30% I kind of don't understand it or think it's dumb. Which doesn't hurt the show in any ways. It's just some jokes just don't land. I think the biggest flaw I have in the show are the jokes that don't land really hit in the wrong places. But mostly the comedy sticks to the in-between of the major themes of what Onizuka's purpose is in the show, his lifestyle and personality are larger than life, which is the whole purpose to him and how he impacts his students. And the students themselves are super interesting throughout the show, where they themselves are the theme of whatever they're tackling. So you have Tomoko, you have Miyabi, who you've already mentioned, our main girl character, Kanzaki, Urumi, the really smart blonde chick. Got to have one of those in every show.
Yoshikawa, best man.
Yeah, Yoshikawa.
Dude tamed the bully. Good dog.
Yeah, I got yeah, I like all the characters. I really do.
From the mother. Murai's mother. Go get it. Like, she's super young.
Yeah, and Onizuka's like, oh shit.
Kept hating on,
Yeah.
kept hating on her.
Oh man, wasn't she like 27 or something? Or 26?
Yeah, something like
Only
that.
a few years older than Onizuka, and he's like, hot damn, I gotta get on that. Which, to be fair, I'm like, Onizuka, go for it, man. I was rooting for him. things don't always go well for Onizuka, but I really like how Onizuka handles a lot of these situations. Yes, a lot of it's admittedly kind of dumb, but I do laugh at these moments in particular where it's like he's being blackmailed by someone who's really into Photoshop. I believe they got him into like BDSM and shit, and he just goes, "Can you Photoshop hot nude pics of my favorite like women celebrities?" Instead of thinking that he's going to be blackmailed, he just goes, "Dude, I can use you and your talents for my pervertedness." Which
Yeah.
admittedly
And I'll
is
pay you.
very 90s and early 2000s, where if I had a friend who if hypothetically if I had a friend who was good at Photoshop and had access to Photoshop, yes, let's make some nudes of our favorite women.
I'm gonna pay you, dude.
Yeah, I have
3,000 yen.
I have
3,000
lunch
yen,
money
man.
saved up from a week that I could give you. Did you ever have to do that in school? It's like your parents
What?
would give you lunch money, and then you're just like bumming off friends for like a week or two, and then you're just like, "Hey man, now I got $10 whole. I can pay you for something. Like, can you burn a CD for me?"
I did, but I didn't have a lot of money. So
Ah, okay.
that wasn't the thing of, oh, I get like not lunch money because I lunched on school during high school. So that happened on high school a lot. Where like, oh, my father gave me $20 for lunch,
Oh my
and
god.
I'll go and just eat salad and be like $10, and with the other $10, I'll just go to the movie theater with my friends or something. That happened a lot in high school. But during middle school, there is like a break, and you could like buy things on break, but I didn't think it was necessary. So I was like, you don't just give me money for that, you know. It's not nothing was like it was a point where like everything was very unhealthy as well. I was
Ah,
like,
I know what you
you
mean.
know, even as a kid, I was like, this is too unhealthy for me to be eating at 9 a.m. in the morning, deep fried shit, or essentially bread with deep fried stuff inside of it. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like eating that. I feel like I'm gonna have a stomach ache, and I still have like 3 hours of studying to go through. So maybe just the juice. Just drink some juice and be okay. In high school, there was like lunch and lunch money, but I'll do that. I'll just go to the cheapest option. Subway. I ate a lot of Subway through high school because it was cheap, and then it would give me extra money for me to do stuff with it.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to leave the school grounds, the school building during school hours. They would lock the doors. That's what they would do in Texas, at least where I was
Yeah,
at.
because in high school, like we had the morning period, and then lunchtime, you could go out, and then the afternoon period. Because like if you want to, again, my city is very small. I lived 3 kilometers away from my school, so if I wanted to, I could walk home, lunch, and come back to school.
Ugh. See, I'm always jealous when I hear
And then,
people saying they could leave school just during the day.
yeah, I could. Yeah, I could just leave. If I didn't come back, they wouldn't even call my father unless I did it like 3 times in a row. And
See,
they're
that
like,
was a huge culture shock for me.
your kid is cool. You know, your kid is skipping school. It's been 3 days.
Oh god. Yeah, that was a huge culture shock for me when I started going to school in Germany in high school. And there's the bread truck, and you could just go out and, buy a sandwich, and you're hanging out outside in between classes. And if you wanted to go home, you weren't feeling well, you could just do that. Or uh, you could drink a beer if you were old enough, just on the grounds, and have one. And all the way to like, I'm hungry in the middle of class, I'll just take out my little Tupperware, have a sandwich, and no one would bat an eye. And that was just like not a thing in Texas. No food allowed. Uh, Lock the doors. Nobody can enter or exit in between school hours. That's why the joke I always had growing up
Oh,
was
no,
it
like,
felt closer to
in
a prison, and
between-
then Germany felt closer to freedom. And I'm like,
In between school hours, you cannot go inside or out. But there's like a period where you can go out, you know,
no, there was no period where you could do that for me. Yeah.
for like during lunch. There was a restaurant inside of the school, and I ate them there a lot. But again, there was a shopping mall 1 kilometer away
Oh,
from the school. So like I'm just going to eat on the shopping mall, and the shopping mall is exactly 500 meters away from my home. So if I don't feel like wasting money, I can just go home, eat at home with my father because he's home, and I just have a nice lunch with him, and then go back to school.
man.
And in high school, I had my bike as well. I went to the school by bike, so I could bike home, eat stuff, and bike back. And I had to do some exercising. It was high school years was nice, except the bad parts, which were a
Well,
lot. But
yeah, the GTO-esque parts
GTO.
weren't so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was bullied a lot in elementary and junior high, especially, for sure.
Yeah. But high school, it wasn't that bad.
High school was a different animal where um, just major fights would break out. People trying to burn things down. It felt more dangerous
Okay.
than anything.
Okay. Very, very GTO.
Very GTO-like, where it's like we're in the middle of like theater class, and one of the classmates would just go, "I'm sick of this," and then just go light the bathroom on fire. You're like, oh boy. I remember when they changed the rule. This was after the Colorado Columbine incident in the 90s, where kids who would drive to school were no longer allowed to have their shotguns on school grounds because people would just have shotguns and pistols just on the dashboard of their trucks. Hence why, hey, I call shotgun is a thing. If you've heard that phrase, Hickey. Yeah,
I
crazy.
didn't have that problem.
Yeah, it was. That was a thing.
School shootings are not a thing here.
Yeah,
Because,
I look.
shooting-
Hey, all my time in
shooting
Germany,
everywhere-
there was never
shooting
a sense of fear
everywhere.
I had.
Shooting everywhere is kind of a thing here. So like, why would you target a school if you can just join a gang and become a drug
You could
lord?
just go around the block. You don't need to do that at school.
Yeah. I think the first time I saw a school shooting, I was like 18, 19. It was the first time, so it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, just school shootings were not a thing for me growing up until Columbine, and then that's when like things changed. But it took like another decade or so until that became normalcy. Unfortunately, like beforehand, it was just hurricane drills, tornado drills.
Hurricane.
You know,
I
massive
believe
weather
so.
events. Be careful. No earthquakes. No earthquakes in Texas, thankfully.
No earthquakes. Yeah, I don't have earthquakes. I never had those because I don't have those. I don't know nowadays, but as growing up, there was like a cyclone I had one time. But it's like, well, if cyclone hits, everything's gonna be flood. So you just sleep here, and we're just gonna practice sleeping on school. I was like, okay, I just came to school. It's like 7 a.m. Sure, if you want me to take a nap, I will. This sounds nice. That was basically it. But anyway, coming back, what is your favorite arc of GTO?
I was just gonna
What
ask
is
you
your
the same
favorite
thing.
sit-in?
I would say kind of the whole middle section of the show. I guess that starts in like episode 14-ish through, God, what does that last till episode 31 or something? It's Miyabi. Anything involving Miyabi immediately becomes super interesting. There's so much depth to her entire family background, her herself, what she tries
Which is
to
the
do
only
and
one
get
that
out
is
of
not like
Onizuka.
resolved, right?
What's that?
She's the one that is not. She's the one that the story is not resolved in the anime.
Right. She is the one that eventually, in the manga, you have to continue and get her full story.
Yeah.
But all throughout the middle of this is about Miyabi, and she's that main girl character that you kind of stick with through the whole show, and you just really. If it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be as hooked as I was, because you got. I mean, you still got.
Because everyone keeps converting to Onizuka side, so it's
Yeah.
nice to have someone that
Just
doesn't,
never goes
it's
through
the
it.
main
Yeah.
antagonist.
Rumi has her own thing. She's a bit weird and standoffish. Tomoko sticks out, but she's more of like the beginning character kind of deal.
Yeah.
Very, very much more simplistic things to break through with her, as opposed to other characters. And then a lot of it just focuses on Miyabi, and I really like Fuutsuki's that teacher, her role throughout it with Onizuka.
Yeah, because she's an actual good teacher.
She's an actual good teacher and cares.
But she looks at Onizuka. Onizuka has like this thing about it, the aura of Onizuka that is like,
yeah.
oh, it's not about being a teacher and a student.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna pour some soju here as you keep talking.
I need to be a human being, treating other human beings that are younger than me, and they don't have the understanding I do. So I cannot treat them.
Oh, my leg cramps.
Damn. As a bunch of dummies that don't understand everything that's going on. I cannot think of them as inferior of me as students. I need to just understand them as human beings that are growing up, and they're going to have growing pains, and I need to understand that and accommodate that. That's what she learns with Onizuka, and it's cool. And then she has like her little arc with some students that don't like her, and she goes to the countryside and have like the whole thing of like the school being exploded with a action movie, and Onizuka just going in to save like the kid. But yeah, I think she's great as well.
All right, so I got some Jinro Chamisul. Let's drink some here.
There's a store that sells soju, and it's like 300 meters away from me. So like 5 minutes of walking.
Surely you've had
But it's
soju, right?
no, I don't.
No?
No, never. No.
Have you had sake?
One thing
Please tell me you've at least had sake.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but I bought it. I bought a bottle of it. Because everyone that immigrates to the place I live becomes Brazilian.
So if
There's
I
no
moved to
in-between.
Brazil, I'd become Brazilian?
You would become Brazilian.
Okay.
You never do like a Texas barbecue. Okay, are we xenophobic? Maybe.
Maybe.
Has nothing to do with GTO. But like, my father's favorite restaurant is run by a Chinese guy, and he does Brazilian food.
Oh, that's fun. I love it.
My favorite restaurant is by a Korean guy,
Oh,
and he does Brazilian food. If you immigrate here, you become Brazilian. You
Okay.
don't do like your place's food or your place's religion.
Now,
except like Islam, you become Brazilian. Everything, you just become Brazilian. You
now is
forget
that
everything you
respect
do,
for the
you become
culture
Brazilian.
and place of Brazil, or is it the Brazilians
more here.
forcing that and just
No,
refuse
no,
to
no.
try anything other than Brazil?
No, I think it's the opposite. I think everyone will love like Indian food and Chinese food and Japanese food, actual Japanese food, and
Uh-huh.
everything like in between, and African food. Everyone loves that thing here. But if you're not on the big centers, it's like, I don't know. I guess maybe my culture is cooler than the others. So people just come here and be like, why the fuck am I gonna cook my food if this is essentially the same thing, but better. I don't know. I don't know. So like, if you go to like this dude restaurant and you eat the food, it's like it's Brazilian food, but something is different because he's using Chinese spices, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's still Brazilian food. It's like, why the fuck are you not cooking Chinese food? And then I need to talk to Tori that has a. He's in fucking Norway and has a Chinese restaurant on the other block. I was like, dude, what the fuck? But regardless. Now, my favorite character in GTO
Best GTO review ever.
is Yoshikawa. Because Yoshikawa has so many different arcs with like two suicide attempts
Oh my god, this
and
poor
sexual
kid.
harassment, and he gets naked in front of the people to prove that uh Nomura or Tomoko isn't a good girl, and then he starts getting confidence, and then Tomoko falls for him. It's like, and he clobbers Onizuka in the head as like showing manliness in front of the woman. You know, it's and then like the whole thing with the Portuguese treasure in the last arc. He's definitely like the best one. He spends the whole show to become like an actual like realized adult thing and thinking
So
boy.
I'm
And
reading.
it's like, I think it's the best.
Yeah, I'm currently reading the manhwa Girls of the Wilds. Have you heard of this? Familiar with it at
Oh,
all?
yes, I've read it
Yeah,
10 years ago.
yeah.
It's
I read because it was unfinished when I started reading it years and years and years ago. And now, obviously, it's finished, and I'm finally continuing it. Yoshikawa reminds me so much of the main character in that manhwa. Um,
yeah.
Very similar circumstances on the bullying aspect, getting stronger, getting mentored. Obviously, the girls in that in that are not Onizuka, but they're very funny. How they handle each other, but the characters are so similar. Where it's the weak kid that just wants to get stronger, wants to change, and then over the course of the story, and in this case, GTO with Yoshikawa is because of the people around him and his want to change like that. Works for him, and it's just so nice to watch or read something where you see the character development with the story and their personality and how they act around others evolves as it goes on, and there's just not enough of that. uh,
Hmm.
Miyabi doesn't change until the very end. All your characters, they act one way, and then once they have their revelation moment with Onizuka, they become now, admittedly, like they're kind of a side character once their story's done, to go on to the next one. But they themselves change and evolve because of the key moment that helps them out, and it should. That's what good writing is. That's what good characterization is. I like all that.
Yes.
Onizuka himself, yes, he mostly maintains his same rambunctious personality, but he himself evolves into slowly a more mature character, but he still acts like Onizuka.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna have some more.
And he has like that
Soju
thing, but
here.
of maybe understanding that Onizuka is always Onizuka, that he doesn't evolve. He just was always that character, especially with Azusa interactions, that the Fuyutsuki teacher. Where he's like, nah, it's okay, you don't need to deal with them. It's like, no, but they are suffering. It's like, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Just trust me.
Yeah,
It's like, man, this is a shitty thing. And then as you watch, it's like, oh, Onizuka was right the whole time. Even exposing that Tomoko likes Yoshikawa to the boys in the class, that was a shitty move. That one is a shitty move
man.
on the
Okay,
last
did
arc.
Yoshikawa get the hottest chicken in the class?
No, because it's the mother one, right? The dumb one.
Yes, that is the model. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you agree she's like the hottest in the class.
No, Yoshikawa gets the bully.
Yeah, of course he does.
Hey man,
He should end up with
gonna
Tomoko.
gonna
Come
pay him.
on. That's a little Stockholm syndrome, I think Yoshikawa has, falling for his bully.
Yeah, not him. Her. Her. It's her, not him.
Well, they fell for each other. Anyways. Okay, yeah, I love GTO. I think it has so many good qualities to it. Yes, it's a little over the top at times, and yes, it does not finish the manga, which you have to seek out on your own. But it's not one of those. It's kind of like Ranma, where it does so much where it's not our fault as viewers that the show got canceled before it could finish. This isn't a go buy the manga cash grab kind of deal. It just didn't finish, and that's unfortunate. Does that impact your total score of the show at all? Before I ask further.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's if I were watching it week by week, maybe. But now that everything is finished, nah, not really. I wish there was a resolution, even if it wasn't a non-canon resolution to Miyabi.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it was just like it's been so long that it really doesn't impact. The moment I watched the show was already what almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't really matter.
God, the show's 25 years old. That's wild. Ultimately, I'm falling on a 9 out of 10. I'm giving it like heavy praise.
Wow.
Heavy
I gave it
praise.
an 8, and I'm gonna keep the 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I initially gave it a 9. I see no reason to kind of drop that at all. I still feel the same way about it all these years, all this decades later since I last watched it. Very minimal critique over what the show did poorly in any aspect. It's more just opinion to jokes not falling through, maybe not hitting at the right times, among other like small details to keep it from the perfect score that I want to give it, but can't quite come up with the reason to go full throttle.
Yeah, essentially the same thing, but also the silliness might cast away a little bit of the believable points of the show, and so you either not like some parts or brush it off as too silly to be, you know, uh, believable. Ends up obscuring the actual lessons the show tried to teach you. So an 8 is a good score for it.
Yeah, 8, 9. I think that's a good place to be. And shit, on Mal, it's at 8.68. So that's kind of right in between both of us.
Yeah.
I think that's a good score for the show. 43 episodes, all worth watching. I end up rewatching the whole show, Hickey. I didn't like just pick and choose episodes either.
I skipped the fillers, but it's fine. Nothing was missed.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, do you still have a drink in your hand?
Not yet, but I
Not
have
yet.
another beer can I'm gonna drink.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to toast to a good podcast episode, and the next one...
I can toast with it.
All right. Toast, sir.
Well.
The next one... Is Tori going to come back for that one?
Yes.
All right. It is Higurashi, When They Cry. I am so excited to rewatch that.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Man, oh man. Now, we're just watching the first season, right?
Yes, only the first season.
And that's the 20-something episodes? Not the 13 before?
Yes.
Okay. Got to be clear with that one. Higurashi, let's see. So that is... So for those that don't know, it's a very, I guess, famous? Would you call it famous?
Yes. No, I would call it famous.
Yeah.
Infamous.
Infamous. That's a much better word, yeah. It's an infamous mid-2000s horror mystery anime. Not a whole lot are like this. And my original score was an 8 many, many years ago. Did I mark down when I saw this? I did not. I had to have seen this in like 2012 or something. Is when I watched it. Somewhere around there. 26 episodes. I got them on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna rewatch it on my giant fucking TV that I love. Here's some soju. I got a golf tournament to prepare for now. I'm gonna. If I was drinking all cast, I'd have to say I'd have to sober up, but I've only had a couple shots of this, so. Hickey, this was fun. Wish me luck.
Yeah. Good luck.